Good morning everyone, welcome to a new market update in which we see that the markets are having a slight corrective move. Is that the bear market or is it just a healthy correction? That's what we're going to discuss in this update. As you might know, you can subscribe to the channel so you can see the live stream tonight at 8 p.m. Central European Time, in which I'm going to answer all your questions, but I'm also going to chart the markets even more and go more in depth on what we see in general. So we do see the Bitcoin dominance chart today, in which we have been discussing that the markets are very cyclical, in which they just go even in December we saw that there was this top move that we just constantly see, making those cycles of the markets just repeating themselves, and that's why they become cyclical. So if we go back in history, we can see that we had those top structures in the month of December every time, in which the period of December is a great moment to buy those altcoins. However, if you want to buy altcoins right now, it seems that they are a little overvalued compared to the rest, in which we can see that even from January, February onwards, we can see a relief rally on the Bitcoin dominance chart. We see it in almost every year, in which we can see that there is a corrective move on in markets. So most likely what we're going to anticipate here is that we have this corrective move in altcoins, in which Bitcoin corrects and altcoins correct a little bit more, drawing down or pushing down those altcoin values against Bitcoin to make a double bottom retest, support resistance flips, tests of lower levels on the USDT value as well, before we can have the big expansion that usually occurs in the summer. As what we can see in the structure in itself is that from April onwards we can have a beautiful period in the altcoins. In 2019 it was slightly different, as we had the entire Libra run, but then still in the summer had a great period. And here we can see that in 2020 we already had a big run on altcoins where some went 10x, which is most likely going to happen again in this case. But in that regard, we most likely get this upwards relief rally on the Bitcoin dominance chart. As when we go back in history and we check the logs chart of Bitcoin and we just go through the fact that we do have these cyclical waves that we want to discuss, we can see that those corrective moves usually start at the end of February and then happen in March. What do we see here? We do see that we have this big drop down in the bear market of 2017, in which we test lower levels, after which we got a nice relief rally, but from the end of February to April we had this corrective move. 2019 was different, as we had a sideways month in March as well, but still it was a red candle. 2020 we topped out in February as well, and then started to drop heavily, as we know, with Corona. In 2017 we had a top in March, corrected 30% as well. In 2016 we had this top here and also had a very plain stupid sideways month. Then if we check the chart of Bitcoin in itself, we can see that it's just a little crazy at this point, and we are just vertical, which means that downwards tests are not unlikely to happen on the markets in itself. So therefore I can't predict the top, but the likelihood of some corrective move is still there, and therefore I position myself different in a way that I don't want to be exposed towards altcoins fully at this point. I just took some liquidity. I have some liquidity in the positions through which I am able to buy the dip. If the markets still make another 10 to 20% move, that's completely fine, and then I just have those altcoins in which I can take profits from. If we look at the weekly chart of Bitcoin, we can say that this entire block is buy the dip area. We do know that the 21 moving average is currently at 27k, so we are most likely not going to hit that low at 30k once again. We also know that there are some levels that we have to watch on a daily time frame, and the critical one that we have to watch in the short term is basically this level or this area we have around 52k. If that holds, we are still fine and the construction is still valid. So if this holds, we can start continuing to that Fibonacci extension level that we have at the 2.618 level, which is still at 63k. So for the short term, these moves happen quite often, and in those corrective moves you're going to look at lower time frame levels first, and then the next thing you do if we do lose this level is higher time frame levels. But for now, the level to watch is the level between 50.8 to 52.5. Next, if we watch Ethereum against Bitcoin, we can see that even if the corrective move on Bitcoin USDT happened, Ethereum against Bitcoin is just crawling down. We saw that we were looking for such a thing to happen, given that we want to see a higher low occur. But what we currently see is that it's different than in the past months. In the past months, Bitcoin dropped and altcoins shot up. In this case, we see that Bitcoin drops and altcoins drop along with Bitcoin, which means that that is a sign of weakness. What we are looking at with each Bitcoin is a higher low. This entire block that we have here, I don't know why the gray box is there, but it's actually this entire block that we're looking at here. That is what you want to see sustain as support, as this is the previous compression period before we started to shoot up even more. And it's very comparable to the structure we have here. You don't really want to see the price of Ethereum Bitcoin drop below 0.23. I do not expect that to happen. I'm looking for this entire level for the past few weeks already, and that is where I'm going to decide whether I want to flip over some Bitcoin towards ETH. If we can have a further drawdown towards this level, that will be fine as well. But this is the structure that you want to see. Then we have Cardano, in which we're still doing really fine. The overall construction on Cardano is still very bullish. However, it's also facing a massive resistance zone through which a retest of this level around 1100 sats is not unlikely to happen. If we check the lower time frames, we can see that we are also dropping down alongside with Bitcoin, but still with construction is fine. Critical level to watch is this previous high. If that is lost, I'm assuming we're going to have any test in these regions, pushing the prices down, giving you massive opportunities. That's my short market update for today. Tonight at 8 p.m. Central European Time, there's the live stream. Don't forget to tune in, and I'll see you again very, very soon.